Hello and welcome to today's edition of Speedweek. Due to the postponement of the third round of the Penrite ProMX Championship presented by AMX Superstores from Gillman in South Australia, we thought it would be timely to bring you up to speed with a look back on the opening two rounds in the Thor MX1 class, with highlights from Wonthaggi in Victoria and Canberra in the nation's capital. This is Speedweek.
Hello and welcome to round one of the Penrite Oils ProMX Championships here at Wonthaggi. What an amazing day we have got in store for you. As you can see the trucks, the transporters in the background. I'm Lee Hogan alongside Danny Ham. We're your commentary team. And of course, our main host, Rihanna Crayon. Danny, we have had it all here today, haven't we? The weather, we've had hail, we've had thunderstorms come through. Not many tracks could hold up to the kind of weather conditions that we've had here today.
If you'd told me yesterday that this is what we were going to be dealing with, I would have completely written this round off. We've had absolutely everything. The winds have been so hard at the moment. We're surprised any of the tents have survived overnight. The rain, the amount of rain we've had, at least 20 to 30 mil of rain, but it's all been soaked up by this perfectly prepared track here at Wonthaggi. They kept it sealed up overnight so that most of the rain ran off to the sides, ripped it up this morning, but have a look at it now. You can see the pictures. It's just developed into such an amazing track right now as it sits.
Well, it's kind of been a little bit of a roller coaster ride, hasn't it? We've had absolute perfection where we thought the track could not get any better, and then all of a sudden the skies would turn grey, it'd come over, we had hail coming through the door here, the track turned white at one stage, and we thought we'd lost the track, and then it came good again. We're going to throw down now to Rihanna Crayon. What do you got there for us, Rihanna?
Yeah, it just is incredible conditions here at Wonthaggi Race, but so cool to be back racing for the ProMX Motorsport Championship presented by AMX Superstores. And I'm joined by the Motorcycling Australia CEO, Peter Doyle. Pete, how good is it? Last year was so much uncertainty surrounding motocross, but we are finally here. We're at a racetrack, bikes are on track, and it's finally happening.
Yeah, I think August 2019 was the last race, so we got knocked around a bit by COVID, and as much as we tried to get up a national event, it was pretty tough. So good turnout. The conditions, obviously, as you know, they've been terrible the last 3 days, but the riders they're pretty keen, pretty excited, and spectators, you couldn't believe it when the weather like this.
Just as we speak, the rain's starting to fall on our heads, but so much work had to go in from your team in the background to make sure that we were here this weekend, and a lot of preparation. We've got new classes involved in Motocross Australia with the MX3 class, so much preparation to get here.
Yeah, a lot of work, a lot of people working on it. We've plans changing every day in the world that we live in now, but we're here, so that's all that matters.
And of course we have live TV, and as we continue to speak, we're getting absolutely bucketed on here at Wonthaggi, but live television for motocross in Australia for the first time ever.
Yeah, look, first time that we've had the series, I think, on live free-to-air TV. It's going to be great. We've had a look this morning at some of the quality coming out of the live stream. Been fantastic, and I think the fans will like it.
And form guide, there really isn't a form guide. We haven't had a pre-season. There was no racing last year, but if we look at what's happened so far this morning, it kind of is anyone's game. I mean, who are you looking for 2021?
Look, I think you've got to look towards, you've got to balance. You've got the young Reagan Duffy versus the Luke Clout, who could be the favourite, versus you've got the old guy there in Brett Metcalf, who he doesn't get any slower. So I think those three are probably the ones to look out for, but there's another half a dozen guys there that could still win it.
The field in the Thor MX1 is incredibly deep. Let's meet some of the guys who will be vying for that championship.
I'm Hayden Melross, bike number 45, and I ride for the CDR Yamaha Monster Energy team. Coming into the 2021 season, I'm pumped, ready to get after it and get racing.
My name's Luke Clout. number 4, and I ride for CDR Yamaha Monster Energy. Looking forward to the 2021 ProMX Championship and hopefully get a championship this year.
Jaden Rikers, riding bike number 3 for Empire Kawasaki. Looking forward to getting the season started here at Wonthaggi.
Joel Whiteman, number 30, privateer Yamaha supported rider. Very excited for the 2021 ProMX Championships. Hoping to have a solid year and improve on a previous 9th and 11th in the championship.
How's it going? My name's Connor Tierney, number 7 on Suzuki in the Mx1 class, riding for the Flooring Sales SB Motorsports Suzuki team. Out here for Wonthaggi, round 1. Been a long off season, obviously since last year, so excited to get out on the track. Can't wait.
I'm Regan Duffy, number 72. I ride for the KTM Australia factory team, and this year I've stepped up to the Mx1 class. It's my rookie year and I'm really excited to get it underway.
What's up guys, I'm Todd Waters, racing for the factory Husqvarna racing team, and I'm here to defend my national championship.
Hi, I'm Matt Moss, I ride number 102 on the BBR 102 Motorsport. I'm just here to have some fun and enjoy it.
Kurt Gibbs, bike number 5, riding for Honda Racing Team. Really looking forward to kicking the year off after a year off and hopefully being in the fight for this championship.
Hey, I'm Brett Metcalf, bike number 24 for the Honda Racing Team in Australia. Looking forward to this year. Can't wait to get it started and get into action.
My name's Maximus Purvis, number 145, ride for WER Bulk Nutrients Yamaha, and come to here to Aussie to cause some havoc.
The Thor MX1 lineup is incredibly stacked. I can't wait to see how that unfolds as the day happens here at Wonthaggi Racetrack. We are at Wonthaggi. We've been thrown everything in terms of the weather. We're 132 kilometres southeast of Melbourne in Victoria. And who better to take us for a view of the track than our very own Danny Ham and Lee Hogan.
Welcome to our track report here at Wonthaggi, brought to you by Michelin Tyres. Well, as you can see, we're standing close to the starting gates here at Wonthaggi, and on all tracks, the starts in the first turn incredibly important, but none more so than here. I'll tell you why. We've got a double first turn, back-to-back, 90-degree left-handers. Now, if you don't get this right, you get shuffled straight out to the back of the pack, and really what is the tightest and most technical part of the track.
Exactly right. The importance on the start is everything here at Wonthaggi. You get a bad start, you get pinched out in these first 2 turns, and then it funnels into this really tight, narrow part of the track where if you don't get the jump, that lead rider could have 10 seconds on you in a matter of a couple of turns. So definitely very important to get these starts.
All right, well, let's go take a close look. Now, where we are at the moment on the track, as we made reference to before, the exit of turn 2 and how critical it is. If you have a quick look behind me, you can see how these 2 corners link up. Now, the top 5 or 6 in each race, it's going to end up being like one big sweeping turn. Now, this is perfect for these guys. It's going to position them exceptionally well going into turn 3. But once they head through here, it turns into single file and they've got all kinds of dramas if they want to try to keep themselves up the head of the pack.
Again, really shows the importance of a good start through here. It tightens up so much behind us. We have a 10-metre wide start straight and first turn down to around about 6 metres. 40 bikes, do the numbers, it just doesn't add up. There is absolutely no room. Also note, different dirt behind me, different coloured dirt. This is a different setup that is required for the bike, and it makes it quite difficult to set up the bike for the whole track for the whole day.
Now, every single track you go to, there's always one part of the track that's the most notorious, the most treacherous, that's going to claim the most amount of names. And where we're standing right at the moment, it's exactly the spot for the Wonthaggi track. We have got a deep set of sandy whoops. This is by far the sandiest part of the track. But not only that, it actually has a very slow turning right-hander. Not enough that you want to turn and put your leg out for a corner, just enough to make your bike go side to side. So as to whether you decide to skim across the top of these, very difficult to do, I might add, or you try to rhythm your way through and get jumping, it's completely up to you, but you're going to have to keep your eyes peeled on this section because it's going to take some names.
Add another element to this, after 25 minutes, these nice rolling whoops as they sit at the moment are not going to look anything like this later on in the day. They're going to be scalloped out, there's going to be edges everywhere. Come that 25-minute mark, there's going to be plenty of incidents here, whether it's simply a bike that's fallen over through here, you get held up, you make a big mistake. A lot of time can be won or lost in this section of the track.
With thanks to Michelin, there's just a quick track preview for you here at Wonthaggi.
The 5-second board is up. We are about to get underway for the first race of the 2021 season. Who is going to break out with the MX1? Great start. Kawasaki rider on the line is still not even going as we see them go through the first turn. Waters is on the outside. That looks like Metcalf could have been up the inside. And it's a Yamaha out in the lead.
I'm going to say Luke Cloud. I'm just going to put that down there. Matt Moss is up there and a Honda trying to go around the outside. It looked to me to be Rikers that was going to have the whole shot, but somehow Luke Cloud's managed to get around. We have had a yard sale go down in this double switchback left-handed first and second turn.
Wow, we didn't really see Clout jumping straight out to this kind of lead. Let's see where the damage will be done with the other riders we spoke of.
I'm trying to pick
Regan
up Duffy.
Is back there,
He is back in about 9th or 10th place, a long way back. There's Gibbsy.
There he possibly just coming in the screen a second ago. As we look.
Luke Cloud, this could be dangerous. He has got speed. He is at the head of the pack. He's got clear track, and he is riding fast.
There he is there. He just went through screen. So he's in about 10th place at the moment. Our fastest qualifier in Regan Duffy, the 72 KTM machine, as they roll through these, well, they're becoming very whooped out turns now, aren't they, as they get back down towards our camera.
Nice creative line there for someone up the inside.
I have seen a couple of creative lines in this lap alone. But there is our race leader, Luke Clouds. That's Metcalf now into second place. Rikers, Todd Waters, Mossy with a big moment right there, having cased out. How can he case out?
And Duffy already onto the back of Mossy, and he hits that inside line's a fast one. Just saw yellow flags out there. Luke Clout is already starting to check out just a little bit.
Let's try and pick up Duff. There he is on the outside, the yellow shoulder, just going into the turn right behind Mossy.
Trying to go around the outside. I wish we could have a sneaky little look there, and we'll have a look at the lander of that tabletop.
I just saw over on here on the right side of that shot. But look at the lead.
Loving these drone shots here. Luke Clout looking spectacular out at the head of the pack now.
Okay, one point I wanted to bring up. I did speak to a couple of riders. We mentioned Luke Clout, exceptionally fast. You brought it up with the hard pack tracks. He loves them. He is so fast. He's very aggressive. But sometimes aggression is not a good answer in sand.
No.
You need to have finesse. And if he can continue to ride smoothly, I don't see anyone being able to really, just reel him in. They're going to have to work for it. But there's that potential with Clout if he rides too aggressive.
Wow.
There is potential, but look at the speed of Duffy.
Duffy has ticked off Matt Moss and dropped him from nowhere, and he's all over the back of Rikers, who, let me remind you, he's also Western Australian and a sand groper, and Duffy's like, get out of my way, please, I'm coming through.
What line was that right there? His front wheel up the inside again. He is going to control this line. Will he make the pass as they get on the back wheel? Yes, he does.
And then he's on the back of Todd Waters. He's making these guys look like clubmen.
Well, I did speak to Waters yesterday, just as general conversation, and I asked him, I said, who's your biggest challenge here? We've had plenty of talk leading into this one. It was going to be either Moss, or it was going to be Cloud, or it was going to be Gibbs. Duffy never got brought up, but Waters' opinion was just Duffy, as we head down to Rihanna for an expert commentary.
Yeah, and I just had a quick chat to Craig Dack at the CDR Yamaha Monster Energy team in regards to Hayden Melross. No serious concern about that crash that he had in the Super Pole shootout. He did bump his head, a bit of soft tissue damage to his back, but he is A-OK. We know that he's had previous issues with injury coming into the season. He wasn't totally fit in terms of bike fitness, but no major concerns from that crash.
Oh, Metcalf in the corner before, what we just caught out the side there. Oh. Is that Metcalf? No.
No.
Oh, that's lucky, but I did see Metcalf make a mistake in the corner before, so he has dropped back quite a long way.
Well, we're seeing quite a few mistakes, but, that is a direct result of the technicality of this track. And have a look at that section. That was a beautiful line. I am liking what I'm seeing from Luke Cloud here.
There is Duffy, just went through. He is back behind those guys, Melross, Gibbs, Rikers.
Oh.
There is Metcalf there. As I said, I thought I saw a small mistake out of him. He may have dropped back, certainly. He's dropped back a long way from our lead rider.
But he still has a huge gap. Now, how's the gap? But how much have they spread out from Cloud back to Metcalf, Metcalf back to Waters?
Let's see if we can catch the background here of the next riders. There they are. So Waters here, he sits there in third place, the current kind of champ. But hey, he's broke away from those guys behind him.
Yeah, everyone's just
Gibbs.
spread themselves right out. And you know what I'm noticing is very few riders looking like they're in their groove. Look at Todd Waters dabbing a foot getting dragged behind. There's not many riders that have found a groove and looking good. Jaden Rikers is a little bit back here before.
Right here, right leading into it. So there is Regan Duffy that is starting to move himself forward again. That battle back there for 4th, 5th and 6th place between some of our heavy hitters is really developing right at this second. As we see our lead rider in Luke Cloud, the CDR Monster Energy Yamaha rider. Sorry, this is Melross, my apologies. It's hard to see these numbers. There is Melross, Gibbs, and that is that battle we just spoke of. Duffy has cleared through past Rikers and now back onto the back wheel of Waters. So it's still a great battle between those 4 riders. Have a look at this shot right here.
Now, just a quick one, Danny. I see Matt Moss down in 36th place at the moment. Now, I don't know what's happened to him with all the talk and hype about Mossy. Something has gone wrong, and we'll try to bring you guys the information as to what's happened there.
Look at the way that Waters just did that straight. They're starting to try and bounce themselves over these braking bumps. They're starting to try and find a different rhythm, almost like a supercross technique, isn't it? Trying to bounce through here and make jumps out of these what appear to be huge braking bumps. Unlike this guy, who's just smashing into everything. But he's got so much pace going at the moment. I predict like next lap or two, we will see that challenge for 3rd place between Duffy and Waters. Solid ride right here by Melross on the 45 after that big crash before. Kurt Gibbs now moving himself up one more place as Rikers starts to move backwards in this field. He's got a challenge right there from Melross, top left screen. There goes Melross around the outside as well. So here's dropped back another one. That is Rikers on the Kawasaki. A good start for him, but he is starting to move back. I'm sure we will see some more speed out of him later in this race. Minus 10 seconds is the board to Metcalf. So Cloud has checked out after that mistake. As we see Cloud right here. Nice line up the inside there. Not one single bump.
His bike's working good. His mind is working good. He got the start when he needed to. And he is taking great lines on a track that I personally don't think is your traditional Luke Clout type of track. This is dangerous for the MX1 field.
Yeah, this is confidence, isn't it? And that's going forward into every other round after this. If he can do this kind of performance here, as you said, not a Luke Clout track traditionally, then going into all the other rounds where he's actually going to be favoured, man, he is going to be hard to stop.
And he's such a confidence rider. If he's feeling really, really confident, he's hard to stop. Look, he's even hard to stop when he's not confident, but he's almost unstoppable once he's on a bit of a roll.
Metcalf still holding down 2nd place. 8 seconds is the time difference. I got the last time with our timing here. Between 1st and 2nd, we just wait to see how far back it is. There is our 2nd place rider right there. Beautiful, doubling through on the 24 machine. So he still holds a good lead, a huge lead over 3rd place. A comfortable ride right now. And this is a great way to open up your championship campaign.
Well, he's the consistent one, isn't he? He's not the bells and whistles and everything. He'd be very happy sitting in there at the moment. And Luke Cloud is more the flashy. You expect him up the front of the pack, and he's got that get up and go about him. However, you can sort of bank on Metcalf being there 100%, whereas Luke Clout, you just never know what's going to happen here. So I really like the position that Brett Metcalf's in at the moment. Put himself in great position just in case something does go amiss at the head of the pack. And he's still got himself a half-decent, a very impressive gap there over Todd Waters, who's really struggled to find his form in this race. I thought he'd come out swinging a little bit harder than that. We're 11.5 minutes to go. When you consider 25 plus a lap, we're literally at the halfway point of the race.
He can do that.
If he keeps chipping away 1 second at a time, we're only going to be a few laps and we're going to have a battle on our hands.
Not only that, Regan is also in the 153.8 that last lap around. So 154 versus the 153s over 11 minutes left. That's got to develop into something later. So,
well, and let's see if now that Regan has got clear track ahead of him, can he get it down to 152, 151?
If he
we
does.
can see his fastest lap time was a 150. Luke Clout, his fastest was a 150.057. So he has the fastest lap time of the race so far. However, is Clout going to have that kind of speed up his sleeve come the end of the race?
Did you see the way Metcalf just did that run? The handlebars were almost on lock, and it was like it did not even phase him. That was amazing to watch as they went through there. Clout dealing with a lot of lap traffic at the moment. This could be part of the reason why we're seeing the lap time come down a little bit for him as he heads towards the finish line. We will check that lap time, and this is really going to show us the
another 154.8. It's almost exactly the same, but here's what's going to be critical. Let's see what Brett Metcalf's got for us on this latest lap, which should be any moment. 153. Wow. He dropped another almost 2 seconds there. It is going to be on.
Yep, do not go anywhere. 52.3. Oh my. Do not go anywhere. We have 10 minutes left in this race, and these three riders are going to come together. As it stands at the moment, with the lap times are doing the last 2 or 3 laps, we have got a three-way battle between these riders.
Regan Duffy, other than the lap riders that he's got to come across, he's got clear traffic all the way up to the front of the pack. He just needs to be head down, bum up. But what he also needs to be mindful of is a 3rd place in Moto 1 going into the next Moto, the final point scoring Moto of the day, is a very good position to be in. You can very easily turn a 3-1 into an overall win on the day.
Yep, there he is on screen, making his way through some of the lap riders. See the head position right there. He is eyes forward, looking across the track to see where the next rider is. And he does not look like he's slowing down at all.
He's a machine. 18-year-old fitness machine.
Whoa, mistake though.
A little dab of the foot, but it didn't swing his whole body off the side of the bike. He's
another rider down on the inside.
Hey, that's just business as usual. Riders down here at Wonthaggi, ain't no thing.
Well, our lead rider.
Nope.
That was not our lead rider. There is Duffy, just jumped through the screen as he goes around the left hand and back up towards the finish line. It just shows how difficult this track can be. Duffy about to come up over the finish line right now. Lands off that jump. There is 21 just in front of Duffy, having a good ride as well.
Yeah, 21, Ryan Findanis.
And there is our leader, Luke Clout, on the 4 machine. Now, he's had a bit of a clearer track this last lap around, so he has dropped his times down into the 153.2 as well.
Yeah, and he has stretched out almost a full second, a good 3/4 of a second now. So he has really managed to settle down that charge from Brett Metcalf as the gap comes back now to 5.6 seconds. 16 seconds now, the gap. So Regan Duffy's still starting to edge away just a little bit on those leaders.
There's a second faster again that last lap. Wow, he has got some speed.
Yeah, and we are 7 minutes to go here in the race, plus 1 lap. So this is the business end of the moto where you need to stay focused, make sure you don't make any little mistakes, hit your marks, listen to your mechanic and what's being put on the pit board. Everyone has their own particular style that they like to get from their mechanics. Some people like a lap time. Some people like to know the gap back to the next rider. Other people like a little bit of motivation on there. You might be needing a little bit of a pep talk, such as smooth out or pick lines, whatever it may be.
Wow, still rough through there for Clout that last lap around, but he's got a lot of corner speed at the moment, and I'm sure that that's what we probably saw with Clout picking those times back up. He would have been getting some lap boards off his mechanic to let him know that the riders are starting to close in. A 54.3 that last lap around, a 51 for Metcalf, and there he is right there.
Wow.
So Metcalf is on a charge at the moment.
He just dropped 0.3 of a second slower than his fastest time of the whole race. Metcalf, and what did we say earlier? Here's the one that will be able to keep this pace right the way till the end. Now, Luke Clout is making a succession of mistakes here, one after the other. It's only a few moments away from seeing a battle for the lead here.
Right now, he is starting to feel that pressure from the Honda rider behind him. And this is where the experience that we spoke of earlier comes into it. Metcalf knows exactly what he's got to do to keep that pressure on. He may just apply this pressure as well. He might catch him up and just stay there. You know, wait for that mistake. See if Clout can handle all this pressure he's about to be dealt.
Yeah, I think what you need to be careful of, and we've seen it time and time again through the generations, as a rider will come up on the leader, they'll settle into their race pace. They think they're doing the right thing and waiting for their chance to pounce, but then all of a sudden they've slowed their pace down, and it makes it really quite difficult. So sometimes you're best to, the moment you get onto the back of them, bang, make the pass, make it happen, and drop them as quickly as you can. This is an incredible ride from Brett Metcalf on the factory Honda machine.
Leading into this with the, I ran a little poll, and Metcalf's name really didn't get thrown into the hat that much.
Quiet
honestly.
achiever.
Very, very quiet. And this part here is a good part for the track for Metcalf, and that's where he'll make up a lot of ground. Jake Moss on screen at the moment on the 103 machine, so he is still rolling around out there as well. Back there in 16th place. He's gone a lap down, so returning to racing also is Jake Moss.
Get into the mindset of Luke Clout. All of a sudden, you can't pick and choose your own lines that you want. You need to go into a little bit of protection mode.
Wow, he's going to have to do it soon.
Have a look at the intensity from Brett Metcalf. He's trying to line up an inside pass here.
Can you believe it? Look at this, straight through. Has he caught Clout by surprise? It seems like Clout didn't realise he was that close.
Oh, look, surely the mechanic's doing the right job. He would have allowed him to know that, and this is what I was talking about. I personally don't think that Luke Clout has the energy in the tank at the moment to stick with him, as we're going to have a little bit of a look at the replay here of that pass that was made. Metcalf decided where he wanted to drop the hammer and make the pass up the inside, made sure that he allowed no room for Luke Clout to do the over and under move and try to get back again, and now he's going to try to do everything he can to put a bit of a gap on the CDR Monster Energy Yamaha rider.
Well, it's certainly going to be interesting. Only a minute 52 left on the clock, so depending on where the riders are on the track at the moment, we could have 3 laps left or 2. I'm betting 3 possibly, as they head around right now to, as we see some of these back markers also having a great ride. You know, these guys are all out there battling amongst each other, having a great ride as well.
Let's do a little bit of a top 10 recap here. Brett Metcalf made his way up to the lead. Luke Clout continues to hold on to second. Duffy in third place. Waters in fourth. Gibbsy, impressive in fifth place there. Not too bad at all. Hayden Melross, after ringing his bell a little bit earlier on, in sixth. Jaden Rikers, as you mentioned, was dropping back a little bit. However, he's managed to stabilise himself a little bit. Not too bad at all. Maximus Purvis, the Kiwi, the reigning MX2 champion from New Zealand. Jai Walker, wow, up in the top 10. A great job for the rookie. And in 10th place, Connor Tierney on the Suzuki machine. Only 48 seconds to go until we'll see that last lap board. Brett Metcalf, he dropped himself a 153.3. Now Luke Clout's only 1 second off. So Metcalf was 1 lap slower, 1 second slower. Luke Clout was 1 second faster that time. But look at Duffy, a 151 on the last lap, and he brings himself down to only 10 seconds behind Luke Clout. He can't afford to make another mistake.
Yeah, so 2 laps to go. Wow, this is going to be close, but I think Clout at the moment, as long as he doesn't slow down too much, is going to be safe in second place right there. Still a great way to start your championship campaign, and I think Metcalf is, well, he was certainly the very quiet achiever we thought, and I've got to say, we weren't certain. Lee, be honest, we weren't certain that he was going to do it, but we knew his racecraft will certainly be up there and put him at the pointy end. To be in the lead, Well, that's something else, you know. He has really done a great job to push himself up into the lead this first race.
Well, he's got such a smart head on his shoulders. He got a decent start. Like I said, he had the fitness to be able to push to the very end. I don't think anyone really is able to be out of the top 10 and make their way through to first. Not when you've got the likes of Clout, Duffy, Metcalf that are up near the pointy end of the field. So a great job. He put himself in a good position out of that first turn, and with only 1 or 2 laps into it, he was into second place, and he just sat there. That's all he needed to do. And then started to, little by little, reel in Luke Clout, and that was enough to make him tighten up a little bit. He does have that riding style that on a track like this, as it gets rougher and rougher, can pump you up a little bit.
Easily get pumped up around this track. And that's when the mistakes start. As soon as the mistakes start, you pump up, you tighten up even more.
He's about to get the last lap board. Here he comes, the factory Honda machine racer. Brett Metcalf, number 24, sneaks a look over to the left, and that is a very welcoming sign, a last lap board. Luke Clout is still within touch. If some kind of a mistake in the last lap, which certainly can happen. If we have a look here, they were both on the 156s, so both Medi and Luke Clout have slowed down quite noticeably. A 152 for Regan Duffy brings him to within 6 seconds of Luke Clout with 1 lap to go. I tell you what, Clout, you cannot make a mistake, my friend.
No. Dealing with a lot of these lap riders at the moment, slowed them up as well. And there is Duffy at the bottom of the screen, just going past the mechanics area, so he can see them.
And he will drop the hammer on this last lap. You're only 18 years old once, Hammy.
You know what?
I can't remember it, but...
No chance. Traditional half-an-hour race, though.
Yes, I know.
Another 5 minutes. This is where the good riders really shine. And you know what? Duffy would be going, I want that 5 minutes myself right now. As we see our lead rider, last lap, Brett Metcalf, the Honda rider, factory Honda, done everything right in this one. He moves himself towards the back of the track. You can see how rough and tough the track is at the moment.
Yeah, and this is a great shot from up above. We can see is that Regan Duffy here? That's just no. There's Duffy back there. My apologies. That was a lapped rider in there. I thought, wow, that's a hard charge coming. But Metcalf, he's on the last part of the track as he enters into a little bit of a sketchy section right there. Just ease your way through. Don't do anything too crazy through here, Matty, because this section can bite you. That's for sure. Just coming into the back part of the screen, we could see Luke Clout, who's managed to that little funk that he found himself in. He's managed to get himself back into a little bit of a rhythm, but final corner coming through. What an incredible job, and race 1 victory. Moto 1 for the MX1 Thor category. Brett Metcalf on the Honda Factory Racing 450cc machine. Incredible job.
Clout comes across in second. Duffy right there in third. Yes, he was not happy with his ride at all. He knows he can be up there battling for that lead. Todd Waters on screen. He's going to come across for a solid 4th place. I know that's probably not where he wants to be, where he expects to be, but it's a good way to start.
Let's have a look at the results for the Thor MX1 Moto 1. Brett Metcalf from Luke Clout and Regan Duffy rounding out your top 3. Todd Waters, Kirk Gibbs, Hayden Melross back to Jaden Rikers, Max Purvis, Jai Walker and Connor Tierney rounding out your top 10.
Jake Moss was a 16th place finish, and unfortunately Matt Moss looks like he's going to come away with a DNF. So really would be great to find out what happened there with Mossy. We expect to see him up there, but plenty of depth in this field, isn't it? A great start to this series. 2021 underway the way it has been is a great way just to get back into motocross, into Australia.
All right, let's throw down to Rihanna, who's with our race winner.
Congratulations for the Thor MX1 from the Honda Racing Team, Brett Metcalf. Brett, awesome way to get the season underway to get that first blood.
Yeah, you know, I had a really good off-season. Did a lot of riding and training, and the Honda Racing Australia team, we've come together. The 2021 model bike's unbelievable. So from day one, I just loved this bike. And getting starts, that was the key out here today. The track's a little bit muddy, but, you know, I've got to thank the whole team, our mechanic, Scott. The whole crew is working awesome. And, yeah, you know, the track was brutal. I just took my time. I made a lot of mistakes early. I rode tight. I just said, just settle down. Got my rhythm and then went from there. So
just talk us through the chase there with Luke Clout. He was looking really strong out front, but you just reeled him in slowly and got the job done.
Yeah, once you get a good start, you can kind of read the race, and I could read his intensity level. I was making a lot of mistakes, so I just had to settle, but I was reading his intensity. I'm like, I have a good shot at the end if I just stay patient and keep it on two wheels. So that's what I did. Thanks to everybody again, Fly, M2R, Pirelli, Castrol, the whole crew, SKDA, and everyone that's watching. One more to go.
He rode smart, he rode fast. Congratulations to the Thor MX1 Moto 1 winner for 2021, Brett Metcalfe.
Fantastic start to the 2021 series. Brett Metcalfe, Race 1 Moto 1 winner. What a way to get this whole thing underway. There is still plenty more action to come. Moto 2's yet to be put in the bag. We'll be back right after this.
Motocross racing is back in Australia for 2021, and I'm with a man who needs no introduction, Craig Dack, the team owner of CDR Yamaha Monster Energy Racing Team. Craig, finally bikes are going to be back on track.
Oh, it's fantastic. We came here a day earlier, wanted to do a shakedown of the bikes just across the road actually, and just get the smell of the fuel and be with the team and with all the boys. It's fantastic. I'm really excited.
Of course, we're standing here in your Yamaha racing setup. This place is incredible. I want you to show me around. Just talk to me about the setup that you have.
The area that we're in now is basically the workshop area of the team, where the mechanics like now just doing the general maintenance on the bike, and this is where it sort of all happens through the day. And then if you follow me this way, we kind of morphs into a hospitality unit through here, where our corporate guests and friends and family come, and the girlfriends and wives, and they sit here and eat and drink their cups of tea, and they get to watch the action right there in front of them when the bikes come in between races and all that, which is very unusual for a lot of sporting teams.
It's pretty cool to see what's out here, but I want to see what's behind these closed doors.
Yeah, this is the fun bit. Come inside.
Craig, this is a pretty impressive setup that you have in here. Is this the workshop area or your spare parts department on wheels, really?
Yeah, both really. It's a workshop area where they open engines and suspension, because a lot of suspension work gets done in motocross, and spare parts and all that sort of stuff.
How many people are part of your team, Craig, that you take on the road with you?
So Brad and Gary are the two chief technical people. Gary's more the crew chief over everything, but suspension's his specialty. Where Brad looks after the spare parts of the truck and the engines and sort of crew chief. And as you can see here, like the suspension drawer here, we've got enough parts in here to probably build a couple of bikes, and every shock shim that you can imagine to every nut or washer on the bike. And that's, you've got to work on Murphy's Law. What might go wrong will go wrong in a race.
Very organised, very neat and tidy. Is that your hard work?
No, these guys really. We all work together. It's sort of we all feed off one another. But I'm just a guy that has to pay the bills.
Where are the riders?
Well, yeah, the riders and even the staff and us. We have a little retreat area where we can go and hide, a little cave. So come with me and I'll show you.
This is a pretty impressive little setup that the team have got here.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Daka and all the guys, they run an awesome crew. So, for me, obviously I stepped away for a year, but to come back, it feels like home. So, I love it here and the atmosphere. So, I'm just looking forward to the season to start.
Craig, you've done an incredible job making sure that these guys really have a home away from home when they're when they're away racing.
Yeah, it's our second part of our life, or it's part of your life. So we try and make it comfortable, and we've got microwave, fridge, oven, TV, air conditioning, all the mod cons. So yeah, they're spoiled.
Craig, thank you so much for showing us around the impressive facility that you have here. Of course, you've got Luke Cloud and Hayden Melross racing for your team this year. What are your expectations for 2021?
We're pretty solid this year. The two riders we've got are in their prime. They're 25, 26. Got a lot of experience. On paper, you would say they're the guys. But with the series, it goes from soft track, like this sand track, where you got Todd Waters and Duffy and a few of those guys who are specialised, to the hard tracks back in New South Wales and Canberra, back up to the soft at the end of the year in Queensland. So there's probably 5 or 6 guys that are legitimately in the hunt for the championship. But I rate my two guys for sure.
So it's anyone's game, but really you're looking out for your boys to take this championship.
We're really excited with the two guys we've got this year. It's very hard to get both a supercross guy and a motocross guy that can ride across both disciplines, and we've got 2 guys who can do both those disciplines this year. So we're very solid. We've got a couple of year contract with them, so things are looking good.
We wish you all the best for 2021. Thanks so much, Craig Dack.
Thank you very much.
let's have a look at the lineup here for the Mx1 Category Moto 2. Todd Waters with the #1 plate on for a very good reason. Lockie Latimer, Jaden Reich is the Kawasaki rider there. Luke Cloud, our early leader in Moto #1. Kirk Gibbs on the factory Honda. Connor Tierney on the Suzuki. We've got Levi McManus. I don't think we don't have Dylan Long. We've got Jai Walker, Corey Watts, the list goes on. This is a stacked field for MX1.
Absolutely. Mitch Norris, Ryan Fernandez, but Brett Metcalf.
Wow.
Moto #1 winner. Is one of the oldest. Is he the oldest in the field? I would think he'd have to be up there. He's got a lot of experience overseas, a lot of knowledge, and it really showed in Moto #1.
Now, we just saw down there in the bottom of the list the 102 and the 103, the Moss twins. Now, Matt Moss had an incident in the first race. We believe it was shoulder related, but we saw he popped a little video up where he had a green whistle sticking out of his mouth. So certainly we won't be seeing him in the race here. However, we're in the starter's hands and the eyes go down to the starting gate. Watch the drop of that gate and let's see who's going to rocket out of the gates and score this all-important hole shot. Moto 2 of the MX1.
Ooh,
Riker's got out good, but a little sideways.
Oh, see how slippery it was going into that first turn. It looked like a Honda that might have got out in front. There is Clout there in second place. Gibbsy, it is up in front.
Kirk Gibbs on the factory Honda machine. Brett Metcalf, we see back there a few spots. We've got Melross, and I'm trying to pick up.
There's Metcalf.
Here. Luke Clout is another good start and right there in second place.
Jake Moss up the inside. He puts himself into third spot straight off the bat. And that's a great ball back to fourth possibly right now. But the two Yamaha riders are up there in Melross and also Clout, second and third. But there is a Honda rider right there in fourth place. We can see, I would think,
that's Metcalf.
That is going to be Metcalf. How's this? This is what we spoke of, that front brake. Front brakes and the fork not decompressing. His suspension hasn't allowed that start button to unclip. But there is the major riders. All of our big guns are up there. I saw Waters is also just in behind them. So we have got ourselves a really good start to this race. While we were away looking at the Yamaha track, it absolutely bucketed down on these guys for their sighting lap. So here we see the whole shot goes to, the 100% whole shot goes to Kirk Gibbs. A much better start this time around for Gibbsy, and that's why we're seeing him up the front at the moment.
And the first half of this initial lap, he's managed to stretch out that lead a little bit over Luke Clout. So his lines are coming together. Let's hope he can get into a nice little rhythm, because a 25-minute plus 1 lap moto, it's so critical to get yourself into a nice rhythm straight away. And if you can get yourself a little bit of a buffer, now having said that, straight away Luke Clout's back onto his hammer once again. He's managed to stretch out that little bit of a gap there.
There it is, 72 in 6th place. So
he's come from nowhere.
Absolutely every one of our big hitters is in the top 6 right now. So this is going to develop to be an incredible race as we see the Yamahas really battling it out right now. And both of us agree, have we lost Gibbs somewhere? There is Gibbs back there in 6th.
Yes.
I completely missed that. So somewhere along the line, we have had Gibbs either tip it over or make a big mistake in a turn, and it is now the Yamaha riders, and it's also Melross. So he has moved in front.
Leapfrogged his teammate and made it into the lead somehow. Now, one thing that we haven't mentioned yet, all slip sliding everywhere was Hayden Melross, is all of a sudden vision becomes so critical. This track, even in normal conditions, vision, you can get roosted so easily and you're reaching for tear-offs and roll-offs. Now, if you're at the head of the pack at the moment, with all of this rain that's just come down in the last 10 minutes, vision is critical. If you've got clear track ahead of you, it's almost like cheating. Have a look at Regan Duffy. Where has he come from?
Oh, I wanted to jump all over you a second ago. I saw the commentary. Regan Duffy dove it up the inside just before that step on, step off to make the pass on Metcalf. I watched him do it, but he has surprised me because he started probably 8th or 9th at least out of the first turn. So he's made some pass and another on Clout. I know that he was fine with his result, but he was also disappointed when he came over the finish line in Moto #1. He is riding so fast.
Is he in a league of his own? I'm predicting a 10-second plus victory here in Moto 2 in these early stages.
Oh, not while you're doing that, you won't. No, I still think he will probably push it up through to the front. But mistakes, and that's what we saw in Moto #1 out of Duffy. Remember, he was riding so fast, but made those little mistakes and it ended up pushing him back. But keep your eye on the front two. Where do you look? Front two, Duffy around the outside, almost tips it over in that turn as they go into the whoops. Keep your eye on this through here. Jumps through the whoops. Oh, big mistake again. You can see the urgency right now from Duffy. Really doesn't want to be in behind him. Exactly what you were speaking about, the vision. You can see him reaching up a second ago, pulling those roll-offs.
Now, I've got a funny feeling, and I don't know where it is. I want to watch closely. He's got to have a couple of lines up his sleeve where he is just dropping seconds off these guys. So I'm hoping we're going to be able to see at some stage he's found something. And, well, right there, he nearly got him, and then boom.
Look at the drive right now up the inside. He was up the inside. This is where the pass was made before on the Honda. And again, throws it in there. Regan Duffy has moved himself into the lead after our qualifying sessions. This is exactly what we expected to see out of this young rider, and he has now moved himself up the front. Jake Moss has put himself into the pits. That is unfortunate. He has an issue out there and is not going to, looks like he may not continue to race, so that is unfortunate for his return to the motocross scene.
Let's watch this pass again from Regan Duffy. This is what happens when an 18-year-old gets a rush of blood to the head on a 450.
He just didn't brake, did he?
No.
You could see the brakes were already applied on Hayden Melross, but the throttle was still wide open.
Did you just see the finesse from Regan Duffy there? Coming into a very rough braking zone into a corner, there was a few small braking bumps, then a big one, then a few small ones, then a big one. He jumped off the first big one and landed down the next big one. Used them as a double. Now, that's the kind of finesse you get when you grow up in the sand. Over in Western Australia, that's common practice. They do that all the time. But it's so hard to pick up when you don't grow up with that kind of stuff.
Well, Clout wanted to make sure that pass was made nice and early in this one. You can see Regan Duffy starting to stretch the legs at the moment and needs to get that gap closed in if he has any chance of winning this moto. He had a good lead in the first one and just tightened up a little bit. I spoke to the mechanics during the little break that we had. They said that he actually wore a hole through his gloves, but a big mistake right there by Clout. Almost loops it out coming around the turn, and that could be the little mistakes that end the race or get you moving forwards. It's a tough condition right now. There is Melross, a good run through here, but I tell you, Todd Waters is a much better looking rider this time around.
He looks a lot different. We haven't really had too much of the camera on him. I'm looking forward to watching him a bit closer. He already, just in what we've seen just now, he looks like he's found a much better rhythm than at any stage that we saw him in Moto 1 during the live streaming earlier on in the day. So as to whether that's going to translate into a good finish and he can leapfrog these two CDR Yamaha Monster Energy boys, or as to whether he's going to be mired back here and stuck in a battle for majority of the race, because let's not forget, he's got race 1 winner Brett Metcalf behind him.
Either way, he needs to make this pass now if he wants to try and run up there with the front two guys. Melross has had a great start to this race, but he has slipped back just a little bit from the back wheel of Luke Clout. There is Clout on screen. He is trying his best at the moment to try and catch up to the leader, and on the lap times, that is simply not going to happen. Our leader, 3 seconds almost, 2.5 seconds faster than second place that last lap around.
Yes.
As we see Waters now dispose of Hayden Melross. Melross very loose down that straight, and Metcalf is going to pick it as well, straight around the outside. So Melross, we had a big crash in the shootout. We have to remember that, the pole shootout earlier on. He had a massive crash. He looked like he was hurt. He really just needs to ride this one out and grab some points.
All right, guys, it's time to go down to Rihanna.
Yeah, I just wanted to give you a bit of an update for the atmosphere right down here in amongst all the action, and how good is it to have Australian motocross back on TV. I've never been in the mechanics area. I'm absolutely loving it. Quick update on Jake Moss. He came into the mechanics area having an issue with his goggles, so he is out for the day. I wanted a quick chat about Matt Moss. He had a head knock in the previous race, got an issue with his shoulder. The first thing the mechanic said, he'll be back for Canberra. Don't worry about that. Looking forward to it.
Always good to hear that the rider isn't too badly injured. It certainly looked a little worse than we probably thought with Moss being on the green whistle. A nice little double there into the corner by Melrose, trying to find that momentum. It really is the key, isn't it? That finesse you spoke of a moment ago with Duffy, trying to find that rhythm in a race at this point of the day and finding that finesse is going to make your life so much easier.
Absolutely. Now, I know we haven't had him on camera for a bit because we've got some great battles going on for second, third, fourth, fifth, etc. However, at the head of the pack, Regan Duffy, the young 18-year-old, has dropped a 152 in the last lap. The next closest, we've got Clout, is a 155. We've got a couple of 155s. Todd Waters just snuck down into the 154. But basically what I'm saying is Regan Duffy's in a league of his own. He's stretched out to almost a 9-second lead, and we are only not even close to the halfway point. We've still got 15 minutes to go.
As we have a look at this replay, one rider going down. Oh, on the finish line. Absolutely nowhere to go.
Nailed him.
The flags came out very late that it was the 15 machine. I'm not sure exactly who that was, but Jai Walker, very lucky to not be injured out of that one. That could have been a lot worse than what it was. Kurt Gibbs now is there in front of Hayden Melross, still looking a lot more comfortable in this moto than he did in moto number 1.
Yeah, look, and I think it's a bit of a theme that we're seeing here in Moto 2. As we see Gibbsy take his hand off, I think he was clearing his vision a little bit there. I think most riders have found their feet a little bit. Everyone, even though the track's a lot gnarlier, it's a lot more technical at the moment, everyone seems to be looking a little bit more in tune, particularly Todd Waters. Obviously Regan Duffy, and I think perhaps Brett Metcalf, of course he's not up at the head of the pack, but he's still looking fine, and we know he's going to come on strong in the latter part of the races. He's still well and truly in there in the mix. We're going to have to start to do some maths soon as we get near the end part of the race. We're going to have to try to figure out who's there in the mix as far as the overall goes.
This will certainly be an interesting overall. It's going to be difficult to actually figure out. Regan Duffy, with a third in the first race, now sits in first. It's going to come down to where Brett Metcalf ends up in this one. And we saw Metcalf really shine in the later part of this race. So, is that Cloudy? Was that Waters on the back of Cloudy?
Yep.
Wow, the lap riders are thick here. And it looks like that Waters has made up a lot of ground on Luke Cloud that was held up by the looks of it by some of these lap riders who are only out there doing their own thing. Metcalf also had a great line going right there and closing in, but unfortunate for him, this is the curse of the lap riders. Sometimes you just don't know where they're going to end up, and once you're stuck into one of these big long ruts, Lee, you're stuck in it. You can't jump out that easy.
No, it's like a train track. You're stuck on that, and if you've got a slower rider there, they can even want to get out of the way, but sometimes you just can't get out of those things.
Gibbs struggling with that right now, and have a look at Melrose trying to get back on the back wheel of it. Gibbs is just trying to find a way around it, and they're just going everywhere at the moment. Everywhere Gibbs went, the lapped riders also went, and again, it's going to happen into this turn.
Well, we're 4 abreast there, and we had a lapped rider nearly take out Melrose there. I mean, like, some crazy stuff going on here. Melrose is just trying his best to stick to the back of Gibbsy at the moment. They've got their own little battle going on for 5th and 6th place.
Hey, look at this. Look at the smoke coming out of the Yamaha right now.
11 minutes to go as well.
And Waters, this could be the reason why we saw the number 1 machine close in. And that's not just a little bit of smoke.
No, that's a lot of smoke.
Oh! That bike is going to die. Yeah. Wow, that was fluid that came out the bottom then.
Yeah, so you need to consider when you see smoke coming out of a bike, it's one of
it's
almost about to lock up. There's some major issues going on here. It's just a matter of time.
Wow, that is unfortunate for Luke Clout, but as a rider, and in these heavy conditions, you really need to manage your bike. I don't think that Cloud is even going to see the lap out. I don't think it will make it, and that is unfortunate for the Yamaha rider who has had such a good start to this day, leading early on in Moto number 1, back there in second in Moto number 2. it was really looking forward to a good result for Cloud to move forwards in this, but have a look at this. The two older guys, the veterans of the class. There is Metcalf now starting to find his feet. And that is unfortunate. Dylan Wood has gone down in the corner just there. Our riders going back towards the finish line. We are 9 minutes and 40 seconds still yet to go in this race. There is Melross coming across right there in the middle of the screen. The 45 machine heading up towards that tabletop, and our lap times, just look how much they've come down. We started this race at a 152, 151. Their boys are now pushing closer to 2 minutes. It's just showing how much this track is ripped apart and how much slower these riders have to go to make sure that they stay upright. Lee, I was saying a second ago that even though the bikes, you know, they are strong, they will last the race out generally. Sometimes you have to be conservative in these conditions because you can really work the clutch very hard if you're heavy on the clutch. You can heat the engine up harder than it needs to, and then, you know, these little issues start to develop. So we don't know the cause of what has happened to Clout. We can only speculate, but there is certainly sometimes that you just need to look after your bike.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't have said it any better myself. And you know, there's certain riders out there that are harder on bikes, and others that are kind on bikes, and you very rarely see something go wrong. I mean, I remember from that's about as close as you come to going over the handlebars for Brett Metcalf. Now, we all make mistakes from time to time, but it's how quickly you can get back into a groove and minimise those mistakes and not let it snowball. We're about to see that again. Let's have a look at that front wheel. As he comes in here, it's going to get a little bit cross-rutted and almost tuck. It goes over the rut, and he is so lucky that didn't wash out and tuck him over the bars.
And he did an absolute clean sweep of every single tyre that he could have possibly hit just then.
Yes. Let's go down to Rihanna for a little bit of an update.
Yeah, really angry Luke Clout from the CDR Yamaha Monster Energy team just came into the mechanical area. I asked him if they knew what was wrong with the bike. They're questioning a suspension issue for him, so really disappointing way to finish the day for that team.
Yeah, strange suspension, but you know what? It was a really weird puff of smoke, wasn't it, when he bounced on that the face of that jump?
Well, no, it was continuous smoke for quite a while, and it happened over a half a lap period. Now, I don't know how suspension could potentially do that, other than a shock blowing, perhaps.
Leaking oil onto the muffler of the pipe. Oh. Well, we can hear outside just over the finish line the bikes death trapping every time they come over there. Crowd went crazy, and thankfully this is the part of the track that it would have been from, and there's no one down, so that is good to see.
Good news.
Kirk Gibbs, though, a little loose there, wasn't he, coming around there?
He sure was. Now, I've been watching the last 2 laps. It's no big deal, but Todd Waters has just been cutting Regan Duffy down 1 lap at a time. He's been cutting him down 1 second, a little bit faster every lap. Not much. Duffy still has himself a 15-second lead over Todd Waters. However, what that does mean is the gap's starting to stretch itself a little bit more over Brett Metcalf.
There's Jay Lamb on the 511, and more rain is about to fall. So Jay Lamb in 9th place. That's a good ride. He's right behind Jobin Baldwin right there, the 48 machine on screen. So great ride by both of these guys. 8th and 9th place, that is no mean feat. And they are both sitting in front of Jaden Rikers, the Kawasaki rider. So excellent effort by both of these guys to get around here. And I know how difficult these conditions are. And just to make it to the end of this race is something else.
Yeah, you'd just be, as the front wheel tucks and goes down, the poor guy, number 36. We're trying to pick up who that rider is. Max Kloster. I mean, you're in the real latter stages of Moto 2. It doesn't get any tougher, and it's just like, bring it on. Okay, rain. What else are you going to throw at me? Is like a lightning bolt going to come down and strike my front fender or something?
Zane Dunlop on the Yamaha just in front of the 64 machine right there, having a good ride as well. It's great to see all of these guys. We need these guys out on track. You know, this brings up the whole level of the sport. Another rider having some problems. I don't think this is the first time we've seen this today. Was the 21 of Ryan Fernandez. He down again in this one. I can promise you that they really are looking forward to the next rounds. But have a look how hard it is. This would be very similar to what you would be looking through on a set of goggles that are covered in water. The vision itself completely disappears on you, no matter how many times you clear your vision with a roll-off system like we see here on Todd Waters. It only takes a small amount of time before your goggles end up with water on them again, and again you can't see. So the beauty of roll-offs...
How's the case there on that sand wood from Todd Waters? And he's got to be struggling with vision. Interesting to note, though, Danny Ham, that last lap, Regan Duffy's dropped to 158 to Todd Waters 159. So he's stabilised that gap once again. It's gone back out to 16 seconds. And we have only got 2 minutes 40 on the clock to go. I can't say enough about this 18-year-old from Western Australia, Regan Duffy. I mean, we knew what to expect. Todd Waters knew what to expect. His main competition he knew was going to be Regan Duffy. I don't know if I expected quite this much. I think I kind of did. He's a freak of nature.
Yeah, he certainly is. Whilst I was blabbling on a second ago, Lee, I didn't even pick up the fact that Metcalf is now back in 5th. Metcalf has gone back to 5th, Gibbs in 3rd, Melross in 4th. Now, that would almost suggest a mistake somewhere to have both of them pass him like that.
That's a little tip over somewhere you've got to think, because they weren't deep in a battle there. Something must have happened.
Well, it's certainly survival time at the moment in this race for these riders. Todd Waters, a much better showing this time. The current, if you can call it current, our last champion from the 2019 season, Todd Waters, wears the #1 plate. And for good reasons. He is always up the front, pushing it, picking up some vital points here today in the sand.
Looking nice and smooth up and over the step up there, throwing her a little bit sideways. Track just deteriorating every minute that goes by here today at Wonthaggi. And have a look at that. The rain's coming in sideways, but these athletes continue to travel around the track like it's not too much trouble whatsoever. Would really like to get some kind of an idea as to what happened there to Brett Metcalf to drop him back to 5th place. There's a 157 for him there. But his times were still good. It was obviously the lap prior that caused those issues. But still, Regan Duffy at the head of the pack with a nice 17-second lead. He's got over Todd Waters back in 2nd.
Looks so comfortable on the bike. I just noticed then too, he was right on his toes on the foot pegs.
Yeah, he's. I guess that's a sand thing. You just cannot afford in the sand to have your toes exposed and any lower than the front. Look at how low he's carrying his heels coming in. Almost acts like a little bit of a snow ski coming across the top there, because there is nothing worse, and I can tell you from a prior experience myself, there's nothing worse than having your toe dragged underneath the front of your foot peg. You learn that from an early age and you never do it again.
How's the chain that he's got flapping around underneath his helmet? We've got 15 seconds to go. Oh, will he have to do another lap, or is he going to get around time? 10 seconds. He is going to go over the finish line and need to do 2 more laps. 3 seconds short of the last lap board.
It's almost turning into a 30-minute moto here. You know what? I don't think he minds. I actually think he'll be quite impressed with that. I think at any stage he's going to be thinking along the lines of, hey, I'm going to start dropping back towards the pack here. He's on a mission. He knows what needs to be done. He's still got 15 seconds over Todd Waters. That last lap there, though, at 2:02 for Regan Duffy and a 2-minute flat for Todd Waters. But how about Kirk Gibbs, fastest on track with a 157?
Hey, that's quick.
But
this point of the race.
Also with a 157, his Honda teammate, Brett Metcalf. So both of those boys are going, hey, I need to finish a little bit stronger than what we're doing here.
Well, Duffy has done everything right from the very start of this race. Made those passes nice and early. He didn't want to get caught up in any kind of incidents with any of the other riders, didn't want to fall into their pace, really wanted to set his own. And he has done that in this race.
And it really was apparent at the start of the race, wasn't it? Where he was prepared to make a couple of mistakes and let it all hang out. He had those long legs. There was a little bit of flapping going on. He put the bike wherever he wanted to, wherever he needed to make those initial passes. We didn't quite catch how far he had to come back, but I believe it was around 7th or 8th place. And by the end of the first lap, he was in 4th, and then not long after that, he was challenging for the lead.
I know a lot of these riders are certainly looking for that last lap board. It's already will be thrown out this time around for our leader. As he comes into some more lapped riders, he's lapped himself up to 10th place as well. There's Rikers just in front of him, the Kawasaki rider, and a bunch of other riders. Wow, look at that. He's have to navigate his way through this really thick traffic at the moment. Last lap board is out for our race leader, Regan Duffy on the KTM. Truly showing how good he is in the sand right now. There is the 911 rider also out there. Jonathan Hale having a good ride. As we said, we need to have all of these riders out there, and it looks like Duffy already starting to celebrate. A little one-hand fist pump right there, going past the mechanic area, I should say, and around towards the harder part of the track, the harder surface, where it's very, very chopped up. But he's got himself a nice little line on the outside. You can see right there, it just looks so slippery as he puts a lap down, or tries to put a lap down on Rikers. And unfortunate for Rikers, just dropped the front wheel over the top of that rut.
Well, edging ever so close now to wrapping it up, and what a day it has been for the KTM factory rider. He has not put a foot wrong all day. A third place in Moto 1, and he's about to wrap it up here with a win here in Moto 2. And he has stamped his approval. He just loves this stuff. The deeper it gets, the gnarlier it gets, the more he seems to thrive. And a fist pump for the crowd there at the top end of the circuit, for the fans up there. Like you mentioned earlier, he's got the chain dangling down like an 18-year-old should, out just flapping in the breeze for the crowd to see. No legger. How about the show that he's putting on for the crowd here as he comes through? What a way. This is, look, he's won Manjum up 15,000 a couple of years ago as a 16-year-old, but I don't think I've seen this excitement from him before. He is about to lay claim to victory here in round 1 of the championship. What an amazing job, Regan Duffy. Bow your heads, ladies and gentlemen. Round 1 of the Motocross Championships here has taken a solid victory. Regan Duffy, an absolute pinned rev limiter there. You cannot be any happier than that. Regan Duffy for Factory KTM winning round 1 of the Pro MX Championship here in tough conditions, Danny Ham.
Yeah, very tough indeed. There was Todd Waters coming over the line just, and I mean just, in front of Kirk Gibbs. Gibbs with that late race charge really tried to put it on there and get that pass made. We expect to see Mel Ross come across in 4th place. That is Metcalf on screen. We think he is in 5th place, and certainly is by the lap times that have come across. So a good ride from him. I know he'll be a bit disappointed.
Let's take a look at the results. MX1 Moto 2, Regan Duffy with one of the best and most important wins I have seen in a very long time. Todd Waters, 2nd place, Gibbsy holding on for a sensational 3rd, and Melross in 4th. Back to Brett Metcalf with a late race mistake, dropping him back to 5th place.
Tierney also up there, Purvis, Baldwin with a really good result, as to Lamb and Rikers, who we did see tip it over just there on that last lap, trying to negotiate the last part of that race.
Unfortunately for him, it was on TV coverage time when he was getting put a lap down. Jai Walker there in 11th place, Joel Whiteman in 12th. We see Jai Dixon in 13th. So all of these guys, just to be out there in these conditions, doing such an amazing job here today at Wonthaggi. Let's head down now to Rihanna. She's down with our winner, and no doubt a very, very excited Regan Duffy.
Yeah, what an unbelievable day of racing. What an unbelievable way to start our 2021 season. I've got your podium winners for the Thor MX1 Championship. In 3rd place on the Honda Factory Racing Team, Kirk Gibbs. What a charge at the end there, Kirk. Congratulations.
Yeah, a little bit disappointed. I stalled it here, got a ripper hole shot, and yeah, really disappointed actually. You know, Regan was riding awesome, and all the boys were. Yeah, probably had nothing for Regan today, but yeah, a little bit disappointed with that, but really happy to be really consistent and have good finishes, and yeah, move on to the next round.
Great way to get on the podium for the first event of the year. We head over to our 2nd place winner. On the factory Husqvarna bike, Todd Waters, the 2019 champion. You got the whole family here in tow, the brand new baby. Congratulations to be on the podium.
Yeah, we got my fiancée Jill and little Macy. She's only 2 weeks old. We had to make a trip down, so it was. It's exciting. It's great to have the whole family here. It's new for me. So yeah, it's nice to put it on the box this weekend. I felt quite awkward out there on the bike. It was myself. Bike feels unreal, but I felt a little rusty. So hats off to Regan. He smoked us. So. I love to see that young fire. It's been Gibbsy and I for many years now, just sort of poking around, and to see Regan come in and just light it up, it's exciting. So it gives me something to go home. I've got some homework to do, and look forward to the rest of the championship.
Congratulations, Todd Waters in second place and taking out the victory for the second moto of the day. He's been absolutely on fire on the factory KTM. Congratulations, Regan Duffy, mate. Awesome job. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. It was a bloody good ride, that one. It took forever. Felt like an hour-long moto, and I feel like if I was out here practicing, I probably would have gone out there and lapped myself how slow I felt like I was going, but I kept gapping them, so I just kept doing the same thing, and it ended up working out.
Congratulations to our 3 podium winners for Thor MX1 Moto 2, Kurt Gibbs, Todd Waters and Regan Duffy.
Well, great job there by Brett Metcalf and, of course, the factory Honda team. So close to an overall, but not close enough. Second place it is on the day with 41 points. But the man of the moment, Regan Duffy, with a solid 45 points. Todd Waters rounding out your top 3 with 40 points. Back to Kurt Gibbs, Hayden Melross rounding out a top 5 on the day. Not too bad at all. Max Purvis in 6th place. Connor Tierney, Jaden Rikers, Jai Walker and Luke Clout, even with a DNF there, still holding on to a top 10 spot.
Coming up after the break, we continue our look back on the Penrite ProMX Championship and the Thor MX1 class with round 2 from Canberra.